Sometimes, not all figures are winners. For various reasons, you can get a figure that's just not up to the standards that you're expecting. Unfortunately, Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Optimus Prime is that figure. I was really excited to get this figure. I liked the way it looked in the promo pics, and I didn't have a problem with the exposed hands or anything like that. Unfortunately, and I've seen from other reviews, I'm not alone, my copy has some quality issues, and there's a few design flaws that make this a little bit harder of a figure to transform. Now, right off the bat, let me just add very quickly that a figure like this, that's actually out 2 months before, 3 months before the movie releases, it's probably been made from an earlier design that was not going to appear in the movie, so there are some limitations like that. But we know that with all movie figures. But let's get this on the table and take a better look at it.
Okay, so here's Prime in its truck mode. Now, even though this is Transformers 1 is an origin story, apparently we will get a young Optimus Prime, which I find kind of interesting because usually by the time Orion Pax becomes Optimus Prime, there's like a giant shot of maturity. But so this is like a young Optimus Prime, which is kind of explains why the vehicle mode sort of looks like what we would see from an Orion Pax design. Now, I had mentioned some design flaws, and I think the easiest is to explain it is to come in from the bottom here. Now, um, part of the transformation is that the forearms peg into the thigh, or the I should say really the hip joint. No, the thigh really, and then the hand pegs into a post connected to the leg. If you're having a hard time getting this peg, the forearm peg, to peg in, you're going to have a hard time getting the fist to peg in here. And the reason you might be having a hard time has to do with the fact that there's a ball joint at what will be the robot mode hip, but then directly underneath it is a thigh cut that swivels. And that's also connected to a knee swivel. There's like a double swivel type of thing going on. That's a real pet peeve of mine when it comes to transformer designs, because often that makes it very difficult for all the leg joints to line up properly. And it's usually this type of design is seen on a figure where having the leg joints line up properly is very important to the overall design of the figure. Um, so yeah, if you're having a hard time, thankfully this is big enough you can reach in and just rotate the joint around, and that should help. Other than that, as we'll see in a moment when we get into robot mode, um, there is some looseness in the like in that actual below knee swivel that kind of makes it hard for things to peg together. Surprisingly, one of the hardest things to do was to get the axe pegged in. Uh, and I think that has to do with the swivel joint, but it's also with this darn waist piece, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But other than that, the figure looks the rolls rather well. The wheels are kind of hidden. Also, if it looks like the plastic is a little bit of a yellow, that's not a like design flaw. Really, what's going on is that's how the figure came, and it's really just like this very dirty off gray, like it's been through sand or something. Which, from the trailer we've seen, sort of how the robots, there is like a desert area of sorts on Sabertron, so they go through that. So that could be it. Um, Now to start the transformation, the first thing is you want to come into the front here and remove this front piece. This is as we all know, this parts forms on. It does peg in very tightly and is very soft plastic. Some people have expressed concern that over time this will break. Um, I can't tell you one way or the other if it will, but what I can tell you is that it kind of completes the truck mode and it kind of doesn't. So I mean, if you want, you can leave it off. Now, just doing that did loosen up some of the joints, so you can come in here, unpeg the fist from that post. That'll just automatically detach the forearm from the tab right there. Come in the back here, spread the legs. This will allow you to remove the axe, and you can see how it just the looseness just kicked in right there. Next, what you want to do is straighten the leg out and bring it down. At this point, I would go ahead and flip up the feet and then rotate this panel around so it's on the inside of the leg, and that would just soft friction into place. Um, Next, what you can do is unpeg the arms from here, bring up this section, rotate the waist around, and you can see how this piece, like, I mean, this isn't even a waist piece. The waist piece is this. This is a cod piece, and I don't know, it is just so loose on my copy. Like, I've actually tried to like bend it into place. Now, of course, I it could have just popped off because it raised the forearm, but that really should not have happened. So once you have that done, what you can do now is bring the arm out, just like so, and then bring it back, and hmm, is like a little, oh, and open up this piece right here, bring that under. Now you're going to fold this forward, and that will sort of tab into place. Not really the best. And then once that's down and that roof is up, oh, there it goes again. Um, you can just rotate the forearms, the shoulders up into place, and they'll just fold in like that. And then come around the back here, and this actually will rotate around and fold back down. And believe it or not, you're just about done. Let me just go ahead and like put that back on. I mean, this is the biggest issue I have is this piece coming off, and it's just oh, I mean, once it's on, it'll kind of stay, but slightest nudge. Use this tab right here to bring up Optimus's head. Raise raise the head on the ball joint. Rotate it around. And there you go. And there's Optimus Prime in its robot mode. Now, real quick to show you, this piece does actually store, and some people have complained about having some issues with its pegging in. Thankfully, on mine, it seems it does it really well. The best advice I can give you is, if I can see, make sure I'm doing this right. Um, Slide it in, press it with both, and make sure you press down um, on the tabs because they're supposed to go into those slots there too. And then just bring this down along the back, and it actually fills in a little bit of the space, but yeah, it stays in. Now, for the axe, as we all know, it can bake into the hand here, or there's slots here on the back that you can tab it in. But it's like it has to go in on a certain angle, a certain way. There we go. Did I just? Oh, I act when I put my hand in, it dislodged it. I'm going to say that was my fault, not the fault of the design, because I mean I had this and it was like holding in very well. So just get it up in there, I'm going to remove the axe so I can get a better grip. But you can see how the axe can store on the back. We're going to keep it in the hand. Because why not? There you go. Back in. Um, and then, of course, if you open the chest here, there is a matrix. And what's cool is on the hands, there are these little grooves that it can hold the matrix. I'm not demonstrating that because the matrix is very tiny and my hands are very big. But in terms of articulation, you did see the arm movement. A lot of joints there to get it in and around. Uh, Bicep swivel, 90-degree bend at the elbow. These are removable pieces. They can rotate if you so desire. You have a waist articulation. It is kind of limited by that back piece, just so you know. Uh, you do have the forward leg movement, knee bend, but of course, if you start moving the legs on my copy, it causes the waist piece to pop off. Also, to keep in mind for the transformation, there is a little nub in there, so the knees actually do kind of lock into place. So, you want to maybe just open that up a little for some natural posing. Also, the hands do rotate. As we mentioned, there's a what I would call the young Optimus Prime face that is there. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's a nice looking robot mode. If your copy has like solid joints, especially in the legs, this can be pretty fun. But unfortunately, with mine, these swivels make it very hard to peg the legs together, especially trying to get the axe in. This piece constantly pops off when you're trying to transform the legs. Um, I know some people have said because of this back piece, it popping off. And again, that popped off because I rotated the hip. So that's the issue. Like, once you start rotating it or anything, it'll bump into it. But this does hold. I want to stress that. I've been able to get this to hold. It's just once it holds, you really can't do anything. So then, of course, that's the question of does it really hold? And there's that. Um, I'll just say it right now. There are better Optimus Primes coming. We know this. Uh, I mean, just the basic, what they would call, what would be like the mainline deluxe Prime is coming, and I think that's going to be a better figure. So, and the way, I mean, the hands fold up, the forearms fold up. So, people who had problems with the exposed hands, that's going to be fixed. Um, so yeah, um, I guess we can just pause now and get into my final thoughts. I'm sure you can figure out what that's going to be. So, yeah, I am not thrilled with this version of Optimus Prime, or at least of this version of Optimus Prime. Um, I think it needed another pass in the quality control department, especially with the design. I think some things could have been done a little bit better. I mean, when you have an involved transformation especially in the area of the legs, where things have to peg together and the legs have to be positioned a certain way so other things can peg into it. It is critical that you have the perfect tolerance of joint uh, in that area, and that has to be done. And unfortunately, that wasn't. Your copy may vary. Your copy may be exactly the same. All I know is mine doesn't, and that really affects the transformation and the overall enjoyment of the figure. As I said, there's the mainline version. That looks pretty cool. There's going to be a couple gimmick ones. That looks pretty much better. Now, some of those are going to be Orion Pax, some of those are going to be Optimus Prime. I'm sure down the line, maybe a year from now, who knows, we just might get a Voyager or a new take on Optimus Prime from Transformers 1 in the studio series, um, that will better represent the character's appearance on the screen. But for right now, this is all we have. And I can say that, well, I think you can pass on it. Now, the bigger thing is, and I almost forgot to mention, like Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, this version of Optimus Prime is part of the A level. This is apparently going to be a figure that will be plentiful on shelves and will be available often. As Hasbro has stated, like with Bumblebee, they want this figure on the shelf all the time because it's a core character and they want to make sure the core characters are out there. Now, does that mean when a new version comes out, this is going to be removed? I don't know. I mean, are they going to have multiple versions of Optimus Prime at the deluxe class size on shelves? Possibly. My point being is, don't feel that you have to rush out if you want this figure, flaws and all, uh, and buy it right away. My gut tells me, unlike Bumblebee, this will uh, end up at on a sale or a discount. I don't think it's going to end up at closeout, but you'll be able to get it for a little bit less than retail. That's it for the review. If you like this review, please like, comment, and subscribe. While I always appreciate the views, your likes, comments, and subscriptions help to communicate to YouTube through the algorithm that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. Also, I want to take a moment to mention that the likes and dislikes, that doesn't have to do with whether or not you agree with what I say about a figure. That that's not what it is for all. It has to do with if you found the video useful, or did I do a bait and switch and present something different than what was initially done? Because the likes and dislikes help to, let people know that this is a useful video. If you disagree with my opinion, that's fine. But disliking the video really can adversely affect the channel. You can disagree with someone's opinion, and we can discourse it in the comments, but disliking it just because you have a problem with what I said, and affecting the visibility of my channel, that's different. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I've never had that problem, but I've seen other channels have that problem. So I just want to make it clear that, like, how the likes and dislikes work. And again, it's all tied into the algorithm. Now, if you want to make the ultimate signer support, I do have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you, help me help you. You know the spiel. Want to make, but as I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month, $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. Patreon is just the cherry on top of an already generous Sunday. And I really do mean that. You guys have supported me for quite a while, and I do appreciate it. So that's about it for the review. Once again, this is your old pal Chuck for Deluxe Class Optimus Prime from Transformers 1, the Studio Series Edition. We will see you next time.